Hello everyone, welcome to Clean Copper Talks. In this video, we will see what are the major international environmental treaties, conventions or agreements that took place in world. These are just the name of all the important environmental treaties, conventions and agreements. So stay till the last. So the first convention is Ramsar Convention. Ramsar Convention took place in 1971. This was aimed to conserve wetlands of international importance, especially those providing habitat for waterfowl. Now, wetlands are very important for any country. Wetlands have a multi-purpose advantages, such as it acts as a home or habitat to lot of species, especially the endangered species. Wetlands also act as flood barrier. They absorb the waters and thus helps in uh, stopping flood. They also act as carbon sink by absorbing a lot of carbon and therefore helps in reducing global warming. Therefore, wetlands are very important. Hence, the Convention was signed in 1971 to conserve wetlands. Second was Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Under this convention, framework regulations were laid down for different countries to save, to conserve, and to use or transport of endangered species of wild fauna and flora, such that it does not have any detrimental effect to the species itself as well as to the human society and to the environment. Next was a Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution. Now, the air pollution or the pollutants in air do not know any boundary. You cannot distinguish between, like, as in land, we can distinguish that this boundary, after this boundary, a particular country starts, after before this boundary, another country is there. But while an pollutant is emitted into air, it can get transported to another country and therefore it may have detrimental effect. Hence, under this convention, frameworks and regulations were laid down for countries to use such pollutants in restricted manner, and when they are used and if such pollutants are emitted, then the neighboring countries should be informed about the emission also, as well as the detrimental effect it may have on human health or environment should be conveyed. Then comes Vienna Convention for Protection of Ozone Layer. Now, in 1985, it was realized that ozone layer is getting depleted. Therefore, consensus was developed and different countries signed a Vienna Convention through which it was decided to reduce ozone layer depletion. Now, how ozone layer depletion can be achieved by how can be reduced by reducing the pollutants or the substances called as ozone depleting substances. So such substances majorly include chlorofluorocarbons. Chlorofluorocarbons are widely used in refrigerators and air conditioners. Therefore, it was decided that they will reduce or the use of such substances so that ozone layer can be protected. This was in 1985. Then another Montreal Protocol on Substances that Deplete Ozone Layer was signed, and now uh, aim or dedicated dedicated aim was given to different countries, specifically the developed nations, to achieve reduction in production usage and ultimately to phase out ozone depleting substances so that ozone depletion can be stopped. Previously it was not a dedicated aim. Now it was dedicated aim was given that they have to reduce such substances. In previous convention it was just a general consensus and it was just decided that they will reduce, but how these things will be done, what is the aim, how much should be achieved, that was not decided. But more in Montreal Protocol a detailed decision was made that how to phase out the things, how to reach to those levels. All these things were in detail decided in Montreal Protocol. Then comes Basel Convention on Control of Transboundary Movement of Hazardous Waste and their disposal. So this convention lays down the regulations and framework to be followed by different countries on production, usage, emission, and disposal of hazardous waste. And if such waste is being transported to different country, then the exporter country should inform the importer country before exporting the hazardous waste that this particular waste are going to be exported to your country. What are its detrimental effect that it may have, how to counter those detrimental effect, and also to help in capacity building treatment facilities if such hazardous waste is being disposed into some other country, irrespective of the nature of the country. If it is a developing country, underdeveloped country, or developed country, these things should be followed. Then comes Convention on Biological Diversity. To conserve biological diversity, promote sustainable use of its components, and to ensure the fair sharing of benefits from genetic resources. So this convention aims in conserving the biological diversity such that it does not get extinct. There are many species which are at the verge of extinction, so conservation of such species is important. This was realized. It was also realized that these should be used sustainably, otherwise and over the due course of time, our generation or maybe the next generation, they may not have the facilities to see such species, and therefore it should be used sustainably. And also the profits generating from usage or distribution or uh, selling of such resources should be shared fairly among different countries. It should not be such that only one country has a right. For example, deep sea mining, the word if you have heard, deep sea, now it is said that okay, lands are distributed, that this particular land area is to XYZ country, but sea is not restricted. Sea, so it has been decided, one consensus says that the profits occurring from deep sea mining should be distributed fairly, irrespective of those countries which are developing, or if it is being developed country. There are many countries which are landlocked. So what does this mean? That they do not have any right over the sea? No. So the fair share of the profit generating from such resources should be done. A complete lecture on deep sea mining has I have already uploaded my channel. You may go and check out that. Then comes United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This was a very famous convention to reduce the pollutants which are leading to global warming or climate change, temperature increase, such as carbons, compounds of carbons, methanes, halogens. So it was decided that they will eventually reduce production of such gases so that global warming should be reduced. Then comes Kyoto Protocol. It was an international treaty that sets binding obligations for industrialized countries to reduce emission of greenhouse gases. Now, following the previous protocol, Kyoto Protocol was signed, and now dedicated aims was decided that every country has to reduce their greenhouse gas emission, especially those developed countries should reduce the greenhouse gases such that the temperature. It was decided that we have to reduce the increase in temperature to below 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrialization area. I repeat, we have to reduce the increase in temperature to 2 degrees Celsius, below 2 degrees Celsius above those existing before pre-industrialization area. So these are some statements or were made to achieve under the Kyoto Protocol. Then comes Cartagena Protocol on biosafety. So the genetically modified organisms can have very detrimental effects to human health, environment, as well as to different species, molecular species itself. However, they can be very advantageous also to the human environment and societies. Therefore, their usage judiciously after doing proper research and development can help in development of society. Therefore, this protocol was signed to address the safe handling, transport, and use of living modified organisms resulting from modern biotechnology that may have adverse effects on biodiversity. Then Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants was signed. Persistent organic pollutants are such pollutants which are persistent in nature, that means they are difficult to be degraded. There were 12 such chemicals. They were also called as dirty dozens, which includes DDT, PCB, and many more. So these chemicals were notified, these were listed, and they were designated as dirty dozens. And it was decided that such pollutants should be banned in usage in any country because they are highly detrimental to human health and they are very difficult to be degraded. So they remains they get bioaccumulated and remains in the environment. Hence a Stockholm Convention was signed so that such uh, pollutant should not be produced in any country. Then comes Rotterdam Convention on Prior Informed Consent Procedure for certain hazardous chemicals and pesticides in international trade. So this involves prior information of hazardous chemicals and pesticides to the importing country in international trade. Before sending any such chemical, hazardous chemical or fertilizer, their consent should be taken, called as prior informed consent from the importing country. Their effects, their detrimental effects, how they can be counteracted should be informed, and then only such chemicals should be transported to different countries. Therefore, this convention regulates the international trade for certain hazardous chemicals and pesticides, ensuring that importing countries are informed about the risk associated with these substances. Then comes Paris Agreement, which was signed in 2015. It seeks to limit the global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrialization levels and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this was in continuation with the previous protocol wherein we talked about 2 degrees Celsius increase above pre-industrialization era. However, it also adds to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this was all about major international treaties, conventions, and agreements on environmental issues. Hope you liked the video. Thank you.